Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're going to uncover the hidden secrets buried beneath literally the most isolated, extreme, and, well, mysterious continent on Earth. I want you to picture a lost world, a completely cinematic landscape of giants, locked away under miles of crushing ice. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, as you probably know, Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest place on the planet. I mean, a staggering 98% of its surface is trapped, entirely trapped, under permanent, crushing ice. It's just this vast, desolate landscape with absolutely zero native human population. And this really puts into perspective just how extreme that modern environment truly is. Get this, 70% of the entire world's freshwater is locked right here in a deep, permanent freeze. That's wild to think about, right? Because of these incredibly harsh conditions and the total lack of resources, the interior of the continent is virtually lifeless today. In fact, you'd think the biggest animal there would be something huge, but the largest permanent land animal in Antarctica today isn't a polar bear or even a penguin, because those guys rely on the ocean. Actually, the undisputed king of the Antarctic dirt is a tiny, flightless insect, the Antarctic midge. It is absolutely staggering to contrast those massive, endless ice sheets with this tiny, solitary little survivor. But here's the thing. It wasn't always this way. We're going to trigger a massive shift right now and travel back in time. We are trading today's frozen, howling desert for a world millions of years ago. A world that was vastly warmer, exponentially greener, and just teeming with incredible life. Section 1. A lush, green past. So during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods, Antarctica was not an isolated icebox. Not at all. It was actually a crucial part of the massive southern supercontinent Gondwana. Just imagine stepping into a dense, humid forest. It would actually look a lot like modern-day southern Chile. This prehistoric landscape was covered in sprawling forests of conifers and ferns, carved by flowing rivers, and constantly reshaped by violent volcanic eruptions. Section 2. Dinosaurs of the South Pole. Because Antarctica was connected to Gondwana, you had these incredible animals migrating freely into this southern paradise, and the sheer scale and diversity of these dinosaurs is staggering. Now, what's really interesting here is the variety. You had Cryolophosaurus, which was a massive 7-meter predator from the Jurassic. There was Glaciolosaurus, a towering early sauropodomorph. And then moving into the Cretaceous, we see Antarctopelta, basically built like a living tank with heavy armored plates, and Imperbator, a gigantic feathered predator. Let's just think about Cryolophosaurus for a second, appropriately known as the frozen crested lizard. Picture this. It's a terrifying cinematic scene. You've got a 7-meter-long apex predator rocking this bizarre crest on its skull, stalking giant herbivorous sauropods through the dense, volcanically active forests of the Jurassic. I mean, it was the undisputed king of this southern domain. Section 3. Giants of the Antarctic Seas. But the ancient land wasn't the only place where monsters ruled. No way. The ocean surrounding it formed one of the absolute most dangerous marine environments in Earth's entire history. You had mosasaurs, these massive, dominant marine reptiles hunting large prey. You had plesiosaurs, using those famously long necks to dart through the water. And hunting right alongside these apex reptiles, giant prehistoric sharks. But as Antarctica drifted and eventually became isolated by the late Cretaceous, the seasons got extreme. Which leads us to a massive looming question. The sun simply would not rise for long stretches of the year. So how did all this incredible, complex life survive months of pitch-black winter? Well, survival required some really incredible evolutionary adaptations. Despite those long, dark winters, dinosaur diversity stayed surprisingly high because these animals developed specialized behaviors and totally unique ecological strategies. Take the Imperbator we mentioned earlier. Its feathers likely provided the absolute crucial insulation they needed to survive those freezing temperatures and that relentless seasonal darkness. Section 4. Fall of Ancient Antarctica. Now, the crucial point is, this vibrant, thriving lost world couldn't last forever. A looming end was approaching that would literally wipe the slate clean. About 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid struck the Earth. And in a geological blink of an eye, those thriving Cretaceous ecosystems were decimated. This global extinction wiped out the non-avian dinosaurs and those giant marine reptiles in Antarctica,
exactly the same way it did everywhere else across the globe.
But the asteroid, it was really just the violent catalyst. It was the slow aftermath that truly buried this world. Over millions of years, the continents continued to shift apart, which drastically changed global ocean currents. Atmospheric carbon dioxide steadily declined, and this sequence of climate triggers basically locked the once green continent into a permanent global cooling cycle, which eventually formed the massive, crushing ice sheets we see today. I want to conclude this explainer with this really powerful summary straight from our source material. The lush forests, giant dinosaurs, and marine predators vanished, leaving behind the frozen continent we know today. It is just awe-inspiring to realize how fragile ecosystems truly are. The next time you see an image of the endless white Antarctic ice, I want you to remember the vibrant, lost world resting quietly right beneath it. It makes you wonder, what other secrets might still be frozen down there, just waiting to be discovered?